Okay, I've had a couple of y'all in the comment section asking us if we can go through and get a mock draft going from pick 11. I got something one better for you. I am going to get you a draft from pick 11, but this is going to be a real money fantasy football draft instead. Here, I think I have a decent idea of what we are going to be doing, considering the fact that I'm almost 400 real money fantasy football drafts in this offseason. And of course, if you have not gone over, signed up for Underdog Fantasy so you can hop in some of these drafts with us, fix your life. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Find the link in the description of the video. There's a reason I've done almost 400 drafts this offseason on Underdog, because there's not a more fun place to hop in real money fantasy drafts. And of course, with it being best ball, you can get in as many as you possibly want. And when you use promo code FLOCK, you will get our 2022 rankings, our dynasty rankings, dynasty rookie rankings, and our 2022 fantasy football draft guide with just a $10 deposit. And they'll match your deposit up to $100 with promo code FLOCK. So take advantage of that. But starting off, we've seen a very standard start through the first 5 rounds of this draft. CMC, Taylor, Kupp, Jefferson, Chase. We can sit here and we can debate back and forth. Oh, do you want Christian McCaffrey at 1? Do you want Jonathan Taylor at 2? But to be honest, I would be wasting my time with that debate. I would be wasting your time with that debate. I prefer Taylor at 1. You do you. Now we have Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry going at picks 6 and 7. Maybe this is a little bit more of a running back heavy draft, especially when you see Dalvin Cook going at pick 8 here, Diggs at 9. Now, the issue I have with drafting Travis Kelce in round 1 nowadays is the fact that I love round 3 Kyle Pitts. I would be very, very excited if we could go out there, draft Kyle Pitts in round 3, and whenever we take Kelce here at pick 11, it's tough for us to do that. So we're going to take Najee Harris here at 11 instead. And with Kelce making it to us at the beginning of the second round, yes, I'll go ahead. I will take Travis Kelce. Now we are going to be looking at wide receivers at the 3-4 turn, really hoping that we get Patrick Mahomes making it to us in the 5th, which happens a lot. Patrick Mahomes has been plummeting down these draft boards. And now that you can get Mahomes in the 5th round, he's one of my most drafted players. But of course, we are far from the 5th round yet. And you know what I forgot to ask from you? To go down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We get real money fantasy football drafts going every single day. Usually we're live, but I'm sorry, I'm going to be in Alaska for the next week, so I have to pre-record this right before I go to Alaska because I can't stream there. I apologize. But after we take Kelce, Mike Evans, Swift, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette goes a little bit earlier than usual. I understand the thought process here. You are looking at the elite level ceiling for Leonard Fournette in the offense that he's playing in, but Lenny's looking big nowadays. They bring in Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White will have a small receiving game role here in this offense almost immediately. I personally would be maybe a little bit worried about taking Leonard Fournette over someone like Saquon Barkley when I think Saquon Barkley is just a significantly better running back and not too much more of an injury risk considering Leonard Fournette's age compared to Saquon Barkley. But after we have Barkley off the board, Tyreek, Allen goes a little bit earlier than usual. Allen goes before Mark Andrews here. Now, personally, I don't get this. I don't understand it. I am taking Mark Andrews every day of the week here at the end of the second round. I mean, if you're looking at Mark Andrews, while yes, this is a tight end that will most likely have the overall passing volume in his offense get decimated. Like 100%, the passing attempts for the Baltimore Ravens will crater this upcoming season. Let me head over to flockfantasy.com real quick and let me pull up my 2022 fantasy football draft guide so I can give you some very telling statistics on Mark Andrews. Of course, if you have not gotten our draft guide yet, fix your life, almost 300 pages of high quality information, and you can find that on flockfantasy.com, or you can go sign up for Underdog Fantasy, hop in some fantasy football drafts, and get our draft guide with just a $10 deposit. But going and finding this Mark Andrews chapter will show you that last year, the Baltimore Ravens threw the ball 611 times. This is compared to the previous year in 2020, the Baltimore Ravens throwing the ball 406. A night and day difference. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get Alvin Kamara. Let me say this. At the time of this draft pick, we do not know how long Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended. It's rumored that it's 6 games, but here on Underdog Fantasy, it's a tournament-style draft, $5 buy-in, $75,000 for first. So I'm going to be swinging for the fences. I'm going for the highest upside pick possible, and the highest upside pick possible, in my opinion, is going to be Alvin Kamara at pick 35. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Hollywood Brown right after. With Hollywood, what I like about this selection is now we are going to have the potential to be able to grab Kyler Murray in the 5th round if we don't get Patrick Mahomes. Now, of course, if we get Patrick Mahomes sitting there at pick 59, I'm going to pass on Kyler. We'll go with Mahomes to stack him up with Travis Kelce, but we need a wide receiver. Hollywood Brown should be playing in an expanded offense this upcoming season compared to what he's had in Baltimore, because unlike the Baltimore Ravens, according to our draft guide, the Arizona Cardinals have been top 5 over the past 3 years in pass to run ratio and game neutral environments, as well as pace of play in game neutral environments. They are right up there with Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo. I mean, here you have Cliff Kingsbury. While he's not necessarily a great NFL coach, it's like he's playing Madden out there. It's like he's just trying to put up video game numbers. For that reason, I think Hollywood Brown is going to be in a fine situation. Yes, we were going DJ Moore beforehand, but now DJ Moore is a little bit more expensive with the Baker Mayfield trade, but it is what it is. We'll pivot. And I do want to point out that the team right next to us right now has gone 4 wide receivers in a row. This is going to be something that we need to make sure that we continue to monitor, because some teams on Underdog Fantasy, they just like to come in here and they just like to light their entry fee on fire. You will see some teams draft 7, 8 wide receivers in a row. Like, it is the most ridiculous thing ever. I have no idea how they think they're going to access an elite ceiling at either quarterback or tight end or running back for that matter when you go 7, 8 wide receivers in a row. So we need to just make sure that we're keeping our eye on this team that's selecting at the 110. But Deontay Johnson going off the board there after Gabriel Davis. Oh, dear God, what are we doing here? Come on, take Deontay Johnson. Take the wide receiver that was the wide receiver 7 on a points per game basis last year that averaged 10.5 targets a game. And let me go over and give you some notes on that Pittsburgh Steelers receiver room. Let me go and pull up our George Pickens chapter in this draft guide, because I know a lot of people are off of Deontay Johnson for one reason or another. And one of those reasons is, hell, this is a team that drafted George Pickens in round 2. This is a team that also went out there and drafted Calvin Austin on day 3. So people are looking at the additions to the wide receiver room, and they're worried with what it may mean for the actual volume of Deontay Johnson. But if we look at the routes run in Pittsburgh last season, you had James Washington with 315 routes run. James Washington is now in Dallas. You have Ray McCloud with 314 routes run. He is now in San Francisco. You have Juju Smith-Schuster with 137 routes run. He is now in Kansas City. That is almost 1,000 routes run available in Pittsburgh at the wide receiver position. They had to go out there and invest. Who else are they going to go and put in there as their wide receiver 3? We know this team likes to run with 3 wide receiver sets. They had to invest into George Pickens. They also don't know if they're going to be signing, which would be so dumb if they didn't. They don't know if they're going to be re-signing Deontay Johnson in the long term. Remember, so long ago, this team let go of Emmanuel Sanders and didn't want to sign him. Maybe we see something similar here with Deontay. So I think that's why they take George Pickens. I don't think it's something that we need to be worried about this upcoming season. Darren Waller goes pick 53. Oh, I am jealous of that Darren Waller value. Of course, I would rather have Darren Waller at pick 53 than Travis Kelce at pick 14. Love both those price points for those tight ends, and we may go crazy here. Let's see what they give us. Ibone on the clock, Derrick Henry, Leonard Fournette as their 2 running backs. They take Rashad Bateman as their 3rd wide receiver here. Ooh, let's see what is going to happen. Ali Prince. Do they all pass on Kittle? Kittle goes at pick 56. I would have potentially taken Kittle. Now, that sucks. You have Kyler Murray off the board. I was expecting for us to get Kyler Murray here at pick 59. I thought we were going to be able to get Kyler and stack him together with Hollywood Brown. We still definitely need wide receiver help. Like I said, our only wide receiver at this point is Hollywood Brown. You're not sitting pretty in a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers, where it's best ball, and you're looking at one guy leading off your room in Hollywood. This team's gone very wide receiver heavy. Keep in mind, this is the team that we said we needed to be worried about. Now, they go Elijah Mitchell, so we are going to go ahead. We are going to take DK Metcalf at pick 59. I understand it's a horrendous situation in Seattle. You do not need to tell me that. What I will look at is the fact that DK Metcalf had a 26% team target share last year, and DK Metcalf is going at pick 59. He is going. He went pick 59. Let's see what pick Gabriel Davis went at. Gabriel Davis went at pick 43. He went 16 picks. He went a round and a half behind Gabriel Davis.
You're crazy. You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you. But you're crazy.
Then let's go ahead. Let's take J.K. Dobbins as our third running back here. When we take J.K. Dobbins, we are definitely going to be locking ourselves into a build where we only draft 5 running backs. And we're really going to hope that Kamara doesn't get suspended for the entire 6 games, even though it's entirely possible that it does happen. But keep in mind, this is a tournament structured draft, so we need to be swinging for the highest ceiling possible. I do think that the combination of Kamara and J.K. Dobbins at the running back position does have a high ceiling. I'm going to be fine betting in on that. Now you have A.J. Dillon going directly after us at pick 63. Fine, please take these running backs. Get the running backs off the board. We need wide receiver help. We still only have Hollywood Brown and DK Metcalf. Now, looking at quarterbacks that we could potentially take on this team later on, I mean, a quarterback that we could be looking at would maybe be Jameis Winston to pair up with Alvin Kamara. Keep in mind, obviously, Kamara should derive the majority of his value as a passing down running back out of the backfield. Can't take can't take Mahomes to pair with Kelsey, as he did go at pick 48. Not really going to be taking any of the Seattle Seahawks quarterbacks. I mean, we're taking DK Metcalf, kind of hoping that the 49ers just decide, you know what? We can trade Jimmy Garoppolo in division. Let's do it. Who the hell cares? And that's what would really unlock the ceiling for DK Metcalf here. So I think at this point, we really need to be on the lookout for wide receivers in good offenses that we can pair with their quarterbacks. Like on the turn, if we can get up, say, Trey Lance and Brandon Ayuk, oh, that is going to be very exciting. If we can pair those 2 guys together, I'd be very excited about that. But Elijah Moore goes pick 71. On the clock, 72. Let's see what they do. They go Joe Burrow. Okay, so Burrow goes to the same team that has Patrick Mahomes. Maybe that is going to slide up quarterback value just a little bit if you're looking at all these quarterbacks. Really, everybody outside of Lamar Jackson did go slightly ahead of their ADP. We had Josh Allen round 2, Justin Herbert pick 41, Mahomes 48. Usually he's falling to the middle of the 5th. So I think maybe we should expect that this draft room is a little bit more quarterback heavy than usual. Russell Wilson goes at 74, so we are getting confirmation. Yes, these quarterbacks are going to go. Renfro goes at 75. That does somewhat hurt because we still want to have the ability to take Derek Carr later on. So it would have been nice if we had Hunter Renfro making it to us at 83. Even if I don't necessarily like Hunter Renfro, I think we could potentially come away with Lance here. Lance would be perfect. Brady has to fall down for me whenever you have no Gronk, whenever you have no Antonio Brown, when you haven't injured Chris Godwin as well. Now, if we got Chris Godwin in round 5, round 6, I'd be happy to take Tom Brady here. But when we don't have Godwin, I'm not too interested. Okay, Miles Sanders off the board. Give us Trey Lance. Tony Pollard off the board. Good. I'm never considering Pollard here regardless. Give us Lance and Ayuk here at the turn. Come on. Lance and Ayuk. That's what we want.
Is today the worst day of your life?
Yeah. Wow, that's messed up.
Lance off. I guess we're going to go Michael Thomas. We're going to try to get the double stack here with the New Orleans Saints offense. We're going to go Michael Thomas, have Alvin Kamara on this team already, and then we are going to be looking for Jameis Winston later on. Okay, not the prettiest sight in the world, but it is something that we'll do. And also something I'm going to do is pass on Allen Lazard. How the hell is Allen Lazard going ahead of the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs? Let's take Clyde Edwards-Helaire here as our running back 4. Yes, this is a very running back heavy build. We're light on quarterback, but I honestly don't necessarily think we've had a fair shot to grab any of these QBs. We have an elite level tight end in Travis Kelce. Probably only going to be drafting 5 running backs when we have the combination of Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But we definitely want to be drafting a 5th in case Kamara does miss 2, 3, 4 games. And if that happens, obviously it'd be very hard to get by with just 4 total options. But here, after we take CEH, you have Christian Kirk going off the board. Ayuk goes at pick 88. So that team clearly wanted to pair up Ayuk and Lance just like we did. At least we wanted to. Of course, we wanted to. But Kadarius Toney goes at pick 89. Interesting to see Allen Lazard fall so past his ADP. Allen Lazard usually goes pick 80, 81. Now, personally, I think that's crazy. I don't think you should be taking Allen Lazard here. Here he falls all the way to pick 90. That's a little bit more reasonable. But let me pull up my 2022 Fantasy Football Draft Guide just to give you an idea of where I personally have Allen Lazard ranked. Now, I'll tell you the wide receiver range that I have him ranked in. And of course, our draft guide also has our overall rankings for this upcoming season. And with Allen Lazard, this is a wide receiver that I don't have ranked at 80. I have him ranked. Oh, dear God, you are going to hate me for this one. Please keep in mind that I like Aaron Rodgers. Okay. I know Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback. But I have Allen Lazard ranked at 106. I have him ranked in the same tier as Tyler Lockett, Christian Watson, Sky Moore, Robert Woods, and Chris Olave. That's about the range that I'm looking at Allen Lazard with. So I'm not going to be drafting Allen Lazard really at all here. So we have Dawson Knox, TJ Hawkinson off the board. To take Dawson Knox over TJ Hawkinson, Dawson Knox is a player that I am just not interested in at all. If I go over to our draft guide right now, my write-up on Dawson Knox essentially says, you know what? He's a guy you don't want to draft. I understand it. He does have touchdown upside because he plays in Buffalo, and he should have a larger role with no Emmanuel Sanders or Cole Beasley this upcoming season. But with Dawson Knox, the man over the past 3 years, 1.3, 1.2, 1.3 yards per route run. His air yards per game, 32, 31, 34. His role in this offense, his efficiency, hasn't changed at all. The only reason he broke out last year is because his touchdown rate dramatically skewed up, very similar to Robert Tonyan 2 years ago, where I'm not too interested in drafting him this season. And please give us Treylon Burks. Oh, dear God. Give us Treylon Burks. I would love it. I would love Burks here. Kenneth Walker off the board. We're going to go with one of these wide receivers, and then we're going to take a running back on the way out and then be done at running back. Come on, give us Burks. Give us Treylon Burks, pick 107. I would be so excited about coming away with Treylon Burks. Hell yes. Getting a wide receiver in here that I do believe has a ridiculous amount of upside if we are going to be looking at his prospect profile and the production that he had at Arkansas. And now if we're going to be looking at the running backs in this range, I would say whenever we already have these elite level ceiling players, let's go ahead. Let's take Cordell Patterson. I think this is a running back that should have, and I want to say running back, should have a pretty safe role this upcoming season, because here with Cordell Patterson, I understand they bring in Tyler Algier. I understand they bring in Drake London. But let me go over to my draft guide and let you know how many targets and how many touches are leaving this offense. Because keep in mind, Russell Gage, he's out of there. $30 million out the door, going over to Tampa. And on top of this, Mike Davis going over to Baltimore. Now, if we move on beyond Mike Davis, you have Calvin Ridley suspended for the season. You have Hayden Hurst gone. You have Wayne Gallman gone. You have Tajay Sharp gone. You have a whopping 272 targets and 166 carries leaving this offense. So I think Tyler Algier can get some of that. Drake London can get some of that. Hell, you can even give Kyle Pitts some of that. It's 272 targets. I think Cordell Patterson's workload should be fine to get him here in the 10th round as our running back 5 in a best ball format. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. But Chase Edmonds makes it all the way to 115. Ronald Jones to go over Melvin Gordon. That is a little bit rich. That's a little rich. But after we take Patterson, let's just hope that we get some more running backs off the board. Any running back to be drafted, that's good for us. Get a running back off the board. Allow us to find wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end value a little bit later on. we're going to have to draft 3 quarterbacks with this build. We're going to be looking at Winston. We can potentially be looking at Tannehill. We can potentially be looking at Mariota. Really, that's going to be it for this team. I guess Kenny Pickett in the last round if we really whiff on things and we're able to get George Pickens at the very end, the rookie out of Georgia. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the draft goes. But at this point, quarterback is 100% our biggest weakness. We still have Kelsey, so we only have to take a total of 1 other tight end with this team. Maybe we look to go Pat Freiermuth with this upcoming pick and then really set ourselves up with the potential to go with the double stack with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and grab Kenny Pickett in the last round. You know, for a damn fact, you get Kenny Pickett in the last round. Any draft, you want him. And on a team that would have Najee Harris as well as Pat Freiermuth. If we get them at a decent price point, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Now, the team between our 2 selections here, they have Kyle Pitts. Freiermuth off the board. We can't even think about it. Kmet, Mike Gesicki, not appealing for me. I think that at this point, we should probably go ahead and just queue up some of these wide receivers. Obviously, you can make the argument, oh, Mason Jarvis Landry is the guy that you're going to be looking for. You're betting on this New Orleans Saints offense as is. Okay, we are going a little overboard already with the combination of Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. That on Jarvis Landry, it is a little bit rich. Let's see what happens. We are also betting in on that Kansas City Chiefs offense. If you're looking at the combination of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kelsey, we'll go ahead. We'll take Hardman. I think Landry would be more likely to make it back to us. We already have that correlated Kansas City Chiefs stack as well. Everybody but Patrick Mahomes. Of course, I would have really liked getting Patrick Mahomes, but it is what it is. Let's see what this team between us does. They only have 3 running backs that would benefit us a ton if they decide to go out of their way and take Isaiah Spiller here. Please, come on, take Spiller. They go Michael Carter Jr. and Marvin Jones. We are going to get Jarvis Landry making it back to us. So here we have our 6 wide receivers. We have a group of 5 running backs that is legit. I mean, Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Cordell Patterson. You have to be very excited about that. I think you have to be very excited about Kelsey as well. Obviously, the holes of this roster are going to be both wide receiver as well as quarterback. So hopefully we can get away with Hollywood Brown, Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Treylon Burks, Mecole Hardman, and Jarvis Landry in a best ball format. But it is what it is. At this point, what we desperately, and I repeat, we desperately need is Jameis Winston making it to us at pick 155. I don't know who else in this league would want Jameis Winston. A lot of y'all already have 2 quarterbacks. Now, I know you don't have Michael Thomas. I know you don't have Alvin Kamara. I know you don't have Jarvis Landry because we got him. So let's hope, let's pray that we are able to get Jameis at the end of the 13th. Of course, that would make this team, in my opinion, look a lot better, be a lot more correlated, and have a higher ceiling in general. But we have Gesicki, Cole Kmet going off the board. I've said this before, but I used to be banging that drum for Irv Smith Jr. and Cole Kmet. I can't buy into this price point now of Irv Smith Jr. here, going in round 10 and getting Gesicki 2 rounds later. I understand Gesicki's the 3rd option in his offense. I mean, very similar to Irv Smith Jr. in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson as well as Adam Thielen. With Gesicki, however, I think that he is a much more talented tight end that we've seen the production from before and stepping into his prime, stepping into his age 26, 27 season. Hines off the board 143, Hunter Henry off the board 144. I think Winston may be the best quarterback available according to ADP. Let's check this out. Yes, Winston is the best quarterback available, so it is going to be iffy. It's going to be dicey if we get Winston. Looks like we are the only team left in this league with no quarterbacks. There are only a total of 3 teams that are about to be on the clock that have 1 QB and 1 QB alone. So there's a decent chance we get Winston. It's probably a coin flip. It's probably 50-50, but it's something we need. Alec Pierce off the board, good. Alec Pierce definitely has ADPs way beyond this. The more reaches we see, the better. Means that it's more likely that we are going to get Winston making it back. Okay, so this team just took Lawrence. They go Darrell Henderson, pick 148. Good for us. We need these running backs off. Yeah, if you want to grab a receiver, make sure you go out there, reach rounds on them. If you want to grab a running back, you go. Just take the running back. I don't care where they are, but make sure we get Winston. Come on. Come on. This team on the clock only has one QB. Let's see what happens. Come on. Come on. I can't throw a fit if we do see Jameis Winston go. Like I said, he's the best quarterback available according to ADP. He has an ADP of 151. He usually goes here. It's not like he makes it a pick 155 every single time. If Winston goes, I can't throw a fit. I just got to be quiet, accept it, take my L. It happens. Winston off the board, 150. So at this point, we have to pivot. We have to try to look for something else. Daniel Jones off the board as well. That was their second quarterback. So both of those teams only had one QB. Now, at this point, there's not going to be too much of the player pool left that are still going to be looking for quarterbacks. I guess we need to take some wide receivers where we can still get their QB options a little bit later on. So let's go with the combination of DJ Chark as well as Robbie Anderson here. We are going to be able to grab potentially Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill. It's gross. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to grab two of those very bad quarterbacks, throw on Watson at the end and say, hell, if somehow, some way Watson doesn't get suspended all 16 weeks, but by the time this video is out, maybe you already know, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't make a massive mistake here at the end, but we need access to some upside at the quarterback position. Odell Beckham Jr. off the board. Thank you, fine sir. Give us Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson going to be our wide receiver 8. Looks like we may be done drafting wide receivers already because this is going to be a build where we need to take 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, we don't have any of them yet. And in a best ball format, I do think our wide receiver position's fine. Obviously, like I said, I think we have an elite level tight end, a very good running back play. Receiver, we have Hollywood, Metcalf, Michael Thomas. Back not to his complete 2019 self. I don't need to see Michael Thomas breaking NFL records, but just get Michael Thomas on the football field. If you have Michael Thomas on the football field, I'll be fine with it. I'll live with whatever happens. And we'll possibly take a top 24 wide receiver finish on a points per game basis. And when he's being drafted outside the top 36 receivers, when he's being drafted around wide receiver 40, that is going to be a massive win. But after we take Robbie Anderson at this point, we need to see quarterbacks falling. So any pick that is not a quarterback is good for us. That Matt Ryan selection, not good. Not good. We need to see these running backs, see these receivers. We need one more tight end left, but honestly, what we're probably going to look at is we're probably going to look at David Njoku. That way, if we get a Deshaun Watson in the last round, it's not the end of the world. Okay, George Pickens goes. Gus Edwards goes. Okay, perfect. Come on, keep it up. Running back receiver. Nico Collins really surging in these drafts. I understand, yes, John Mechie did have that injury at the very end of the collegiate season. You should have John Mechie missing the beginning portion of the year. But what I don't understand is, what's the upside play? What's the best case scenario for Nico Collins? He's the wide receiver 2 in one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. I know some way people think that Davis Mills is going to turn into an average to above average NFL passer. I got news for all those people who think that. Las Vegas currently has the Houston Texans dead last in projected wins. They have the Houston Texans dead last. What that tells me hell, yeah, you probably should not expect Davis Mills to give you above average quarterback play. Okay, but Jared Goff goes 171, so we are not going to be able to get Jared Goff on this team. That definitely sucks whenever we took DJ Chark for that purpose. We get Noah Fant making it to us at tight end. I would like the value. The issue is, like I said, I really do think we have to take Watson as a swing for the fences to try to save this quarterback room at the very end of this draft. And if that's going to be the case, we have no other Cleveland Browns players. So I really want to take David Njoku. But what we can do is we can pass on Noah Fant and David Njoku if they're both available to us at 179, assuming that the team between us would go Noah Fant. But Noah Fant's off the board already, so we didn't have to think about it. We are going to be queuing up David Njoku here. After that, Tannehill, because we did take Treylon Burks with this team as well. We don't have anybody for New England. It is what it is. It is what it is. But Sammy Watkins goes 175. This team only has one tight end. Please don't do it to us. They go Paris Campbell. You know what would actually maybe be more appealing? for us to go Tannehill here and then take Austin Hooper in the following round. Hooper, never mind, Austin Hooper off the board. So we definitely need to get David Njoku and Ryan Tannehill here from the turn. We are going to get David Njoku. Really like that value that you're seeing with Darrell Williams. We can't take advantage of it, though. We have to get our second tight end. And from here, we are quarterbacks and quarterbacks alone. Let's take Tannehill at pick 182, assuming that we are going to get Baker Mayfield and Watson at the end of this draft. But this is a quarterback room that, dear God, it needs some help. This is one of the worst quarterback rooms that I have ever drafted. And the bad thing about drafting a bad quarterback room is, hell, quarterbacks score a lot of points. And quarterbacks have a massive effect on your win rate. Usually we try to grab 2 elite level guys in a best ball format, but clearly that's not going to happen. So I think just grabbing 3 of them, cycling them through, maybe we can save ourselves. But let's go and track some of the weirdest teams that we saw in this draft. Let's go back and look at the team that was drafting right next to us. And they took a little bit of a different approach. They went 4 wide receivers out the gate in the combination of Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, and Cortland Sutton. Let's kind of recap how their draft was compared to ours to see maybe if this would have been a draft room that suited us better to just go wide receiver early. But here in round 5, they get Elijah Mitchell. Round 6, they get A.J. Dillon. They did take Tom Brady to pair up with Mike Evans. Of course, that's going to be fine. They get Christian Kirk as their 5th wide receiver. Penny at the end of the 9th round. Where did Kenneth Walker go in this draft? Okay, so he went right before. It still, I don't want to say weirds me out. It still looks weird on paper to see Kenneth Walker's name as Ken Walker. But Derek Carr, pick 111. After Derek Carr, they go Rondale, KJ Osborne, Gerald Everett, Cameron Brate. So they do get Cameron Brate to stack up with Tom Brady, of course. I honestly think that the Cameron Brate hate has gone a little bit too far. Cameron Brate went too early in these drafts, right when Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement. And then everybody came out on their favorite podcast and said, oh, yeah, you know what? Cameron Brate's horrible. And everybody looked around and said, oh, yeah, Cameron Brate is horrible. And then they pushed Brate down a ton. I think here at pick 159, that's going to be a perfectly fine selection of Cameron Brate. My issue is when you see Cameron Brate going in the 17th, 18th round of these drafts, that's where I'm like, okay, maybe the hate has gone a little bit too far. But it looks like we probably are going to get our 2 quarterbacks. I mean, everybody already has their 2-3 guys, so I think it's safe to assume that we have Baker Mayfield and we have Deshaun Watson coming our way. Yes, we are recording this before any Deshaun Watson announcement, so maybe that ends up being pretty stupid, but let's see. If Watson is only suspended 8 weeks, if he's only suspended 10 weeks, then that's how we access that elite level finish weeks 15, 16, 17. So Logan Thomas goes pick 199. Wentz goes perfect. Perfect. I think we are getting Baker. McKinnon off the board. Let's take Baker Mayfield here as our quarterback 2, and then we're going to fire up Deshaun Watson as our quarterback 3. Like I said, I understand when we take Watson here, a lot of times, yes, you're never expecting Watson to be able to play. There is a decent chance that he does indeed get suspended the entire year, but also he's the only other quarterback in this tier that could give us elite level production in weeks 15, 16, 17. So we will go ahead and take him. Let me show y'all the entire draft board real quick before we end this out. Of course, thank you so much for being a part of the vlog, supporting the channel. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. And if you want to hop in these drafts on Underdog Fantasy, there's nothing more fun to do. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. You can find it in the description of this or find it in the comment section. But thank you again. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. And I hope we get to see you out with the video tomorrow.